Can we, oh, okay, I called mine.
Alright, back in order, 8 o'clock.
I forgot to include the cleanup totals. Alright, I gotta-
I thought Dave has the,
Yeah, I gave them to him, but did you put it in, he didn't say it, or is it gonna be in your report?
The price?
The
we don't have the
people.
total.
We don't have it yet.
No,
Oh.
total of people who showed up for cleanup day.
You got it right here,
104
104 vehicles.
Right, do you have the, do you, no, you already plan on bringing it, is what I asked.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anybody want it?
which was up from last year, I think last year we were $1,700.
Well, there were a ton of people, something, I gave it to Dave.
I had lots and lots
Used to
of
be
thank
$20
yous for people,
For
for
you.
the postcards,
Did it,
some complaints about the
Leave it in the office?
What's that?
Did you leave it in the office?
Oh, the back here thing?
So,
What I sent you for filling in the chart, okay,
yeah, we just haven't gotten anything from.
but you should have last year's.
Yep.
Yeah, we had 104 vehicles, 17 tandem trailers, 87 vehicles or just small trailers, for a total of 2,420. We filled 3 45 cubic yard trucks and at least 2 25 cubic yard trucks, and then still waiting on the total from the last truck to get our final price.
Well, there was also a big trailer of metal
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
that they were gonna recycle.
Yeah, they had
That 3 trailers full of.
3 trailers.
Yeah, piled high.
You're probably gonna make some cash from that stuff.
I would hope so.
Ton of people this time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you guys, you know, I'm not on Facebook, but, somebody came here to drop off stuff for donations, and I'm like, what?
Well,
Apparently we become a storage place for the donations in 2 weeks. I says, we can't do that, we have people renting this building out, so.
my understanding, Evan was collecting some, isn't that what he said that one time? He's got a garage
I
full.
was
Some-
gonna
some-
pester him because he said he was going to let us know, but when is,
Somewhere,
is that Memorial Day weekend?
yeah, in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from this coming, yeah,
Okay,
not this,
I was,
but-
I was kinda wondering if we just bring it down here for them to.
well, that's,
sell it, or is that-
somebody has it somewhere, because I had a lady come in and says, drop it off here, I'm like, where am I gonna put it?
Yeah.
So she was gonna go back and check to make sure to see if there was a date on it when to do the drop off, but.
Maybe they meant that day up.
I don't know, so I told her, so, you know, I mean, I don't have an issue with storing it, but I'm not sure where we'd store it until after people were done using the room. Anyway,
Alright, finish up board member reports. Alright. Alright, auditor.
With that said, I did get, after the fact that I just got this the other day in the mail, or in the email, I have another quote from a company that we talked to at the conference. And I really like these people. These are the people that Jim was talking about for recommendations for budget and for other things. Jim and I had dinner with them and some other people during the conference. And, so we got
That they
a
didn't
chance to
pay
talk
for.
about, yeah. They did not pay for it, Michigan Class did. So, but it was a great meal and open bar too.
Do you have an extra one?
Yeah, I do. So, but the guy who runs this was there, not the man who sent this to me. And I did some checking on them as well, and the county, these guys are more expensive than the other 2 quotes that we have. But the county uses them, and they highly recommend them. And they've had no issues, no complaints, very easy to work with. And, so with that said, there's another report to look at, or another bid to look at. And I think we should seriously consider them, because I'm a firm believer in you get what you pay for. And, oh, I also did some checking, it reminds me. So we were told that we have to have this audit done in July
no,
or June. That's not true.
that's not.
It's 6 months from the end of the fiscal year, so it's September. So we have some time to look at these, get your guys' thoughts, and then make a new recommendation, because I don't think we should use our current one that we've used for years, because you wanna know my reason?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you my reasons then. I wasn't gonna say names, but I will. So we hired her and we paid her a lot of money to come in here to help decide whose job it was officially to do whose job. As far as I'm aware, because it's never been brought to my attention, we never even received a report in writing. I was told a verbal thing, and then these guys tell me they were each told something different as well. So what did we pay them $6,000 for? And then also, in the process, she was going to clean up and organize our general ledger, and she made mistakes. She made more problems than we already had. And then when I tried to call her numerous times to bring these to her attention, and because she told me I was to do absolutely no journal entries. And so when I was trying to fix these so that I could budget its accounts correctly, I was told I can't do that, and then she refused to answer my calls or my emails. Rose, she eventually answered, so.
Eventually, I think it took.
So with that being said, the amount of money that we save in her, cost, I think, and also in one of the classes, they also stressed, it was not these same people, hang on, they also stressed that your auditor should be somebody who works with you. That if you have a question, how to set up an account, how we have this issue with the parks account, they should be willing to help us throughout the year. They should be willing to guide us correctly.
Somebody should be able to answer the telephone and talk
Exactly.
to us. That's one of my biggest complaints is
Well, my biggest
no phone
complaint
calls.
is no written report
in the
and
budget.
errors on top of it.
Yeah.
So you want any
Yeah,
more
I did
detail?
not, no, I did not know that, so I'm glad to get those details.
Yes, Phil, sorry.
No, can I add one more thing before? Can I interrupt you?
Go ahead, fine.
How long have we had that auditor?
For my records that I could find in
Yeah.
the office, 2011.
So,
And then all these other things that we were addressed, like the fire association and those, a good auditor should have caught those things.
well, not only should an auditor have caught that, but Rod Taylor, and he's not an auditor, but he's got like 27 or 30 years experience running municipalities. Just looked at it and immediately saw where our fund balances were way out of whack. An auditor that should have caught that years ago.
It is in our last audit report. I did not go back through all of them. There is just a one sentence line about how we should address that.
Well, it shouldn't be one sentence line.
I agree.
That we have to dig out of an audit report. It should be an auditor saying, with lights flashing, this is a problem, and this is why. Don't just take care of it. You could lose a big chunk of money, and I don't know that it's always been probably rising because we have more taxable properties, but losing $250,000.
No. State revenue taxes, the sharing is based primarily on sales tax.
Okay. I don't wanna lose $250,000, I don't know if it's been a lot more in the past or if it's slowly going up. That's a big chunk to lose, and if we're operating correctly, it falls on all of you guys to pick up the difference, so I don't wanna lose it, and an auditor should have brought that to our attention long ago, not just a line in a report to cover their butt. So, you know, whether it's Manor Custodian or the other one, I certainly am not in favor of our continuing with our current auditor.
I think that's the general consensus. I actually didn't even reach out to her, she was the only one that answered the ad in the paper. But the, other two, a lot of them that I reached out to, they just didn't have time to take us on. This is all I got back from, CPA and advisors. It was just a quick email that came in today, and just has their prices for the next 3 years to do annual audits, of 10, 5, and 11.
One of the other interesting things that we learned in that class, we don't have to send out bids. We can just go pick
Correct.
You know, and I think we should, you know, while it is more money for Manor Custodian,
Yeah.
we're in a world of hurt and they know how to get us out of it.
Well, and the thing I like about working with them is that, you know, maybe we could get some kind of a deal if we did more than one thing with them, like work with them on the budget. And they teach classes to help you with the budget. They teach classes to help you, with the general ledger, different things. And so like it's a, you know, they had, I think, two for sure, I think a third from their company there as presenters at the conference.
Oh, yeah.
In different capacities. One of their people taught a class for treasurers on the reconciliation stuff. And so, I just think they're a very knowledgeable company. I think they've been in business for a long time, and I think we could use them.
I think Gaybridge and Company is good that way too.
One of the things that is unique about the Michigan Township Association, they do not endorse anybody. And some associations do, I'm familiar with others that have in the past. Actually, the company I had received the first endorsement from an education association. They now sell their endorsement, which kind of devalues it. But in asking specifically Catherine about their in-house attorney, you know, who they recommend, we don't recommend anybody. But the fact that, you know, one of their people was teaching the class with her, had a separate class, was on their agenda, is, you know, their tacit endorsement of any firm that's there. You also don't get to be on their, what's the convention for, not the convention for, where everybody's selling everything, the exhibit for.
Vendor.
You don't get to be a vendor unless they think you're of quality. So the fact that the MTA had them involved in so many different classes, I think speaks highly of Manor Custodian.
What was your question?
Oh, it's answered. Taken care of.
Okay, well, I just used it, sat there for a while.
Oh, I listen.
Alright, so we don't have to make a decision.
Right.
So-
I'm not overly impressed with the email quote, but I would strongly have you guys take a look at Gaybridge and Company. They have a Traverse City office.
The
And
phone conversation is pretty good.
yeah, and they are willing to come in after the audit, go through everything with us as far as combining accounts and a lot of the same stuff that you guys said here. It's $10,000 cheaper.
You get what you pay for.
Well, and then also, I mean, we have to read it thoroughly just to
Yeah.
make sure, and because oftentimes there's little extra costs that they don't mention that comes, you know, that could bring it to the same cost.
And we just got that Manor Custodian.
Yeah, so nobody's had time to read that, I realize that.
So bring it for next month?
Yep.
This is May, June.
And they did say, I don't know what these guys said, but these guys said that they could, you know, the sooner we can get them a response, the better. And they could start the audit in mid-June.
Cause, that company plus Gaybridge, they can just do it from their office.
That's what these guys do too.
Yeah,
They'll
instead of
give you a
coming
portal
here.
where you
Yeah,
can,
I just said them.
they still always come,
Yeah,
at least once
yeah,
or twice, but they,
absolutely.
yeah. Well, they'll come in the beginning too, if they want to, but they, and then they'll do most majority online.
Can we get some references from them as well? Are they in there?
The favorite one there is, there's,
Their resumes and.
I think we should contact some of those people.
one of the
This is
selling,
Gaybridge.
Oh, they have a list here of ones that they have done for the past.
Okay.
Looks like they do a lot of.
Who would we talk to at county? They would be working.
Katie probably,
Kelly would probably use.
treasurer or the city, or.
Okay,
city
Katie might
side.
actually oversee it too.
Yeah, cause
I'd like her to weigh in.
Yeah, I talked to, I'm trying to blank on her name right now. One of the girls in Kelly's office. Very nice. I can't remember what her name is right now. contact her?
Kara, so,
Kara?
do I need to make copies of these next month, or
No, we can keep it
can
on.
we keep them and bring them back and
Yeah.
save at least one tree next month?
I tried to, when I hit back to back, for some reason it didn't go,
Yeah.
so I apologize for that.
Alright, so push that to next month. AT&T Metro Act.
Signing it here,
And I was the one that paused it from being signed last meeting, cause I thought there might be some wiggle room to negotiate. There isn't any, this is just a perfunctory thing, we sign it, that's it.
And it goes until 2029.
And it's every 5 years.
So that's just something we have to sign.
Yep.
Do we need to vote on it, or do we? No?
If we don't sign it, it just goes.
We don't have a choice, if we don't sign it, they harass us until we sign it.
I see. We don't need harassment. Okay.
Alright, statutory duties. Well, a lot of this falls in with the, actually, it should have been non-statutory duties.
Yep.
Give that to you, Ron, sorry.
sorry.
MTA printed out non-statutory duties
Yes.
in our April, May newsletter.
So I'm gonna stop doing all of those non-statutory duties.
Well, then, it's fine.
Cause I was never asked,
No, you were just given it.
I was told it's your duty, and I'm like, as I delved into it further in the years, I'm like, this isn't my responsibility. Cemeteries haven't been a clerk's responsibility since 2012. It would be nice to be asked if I'm willing to do that. And accounts payable, and payroll, website, rentals,
Recording secretary,
Can we get a copy of that?
Jackie's, of this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was.
I'll see if I can, blow it up.
oh, try to copy
Cause
the
it's
background.
backwards to normal stuff.
Well, I don't disagree that those aren't your duties to do, not one bit. But I do think that they tie so closely to the salary committee, and that is one of the things that we have been trying very hard to do. So with that said, I would ask that you continue to do those until the end of the time, and and the salary commission is done with
I want
their
nothing
job.
to do with the website because I'm blamed for everything that happens to that
Well, I haven't
website.
touched it since I had lies made up about me.
I don't
So-
appreciate being
Other than the
accused
other day.
of not doing my job. And the website is not my job,
That's true.
you know?
So with that said, does anybody volunteer to do the website or take over this website?
Well, I've taken over the news website, I need to learn the ins and outs of the old website.
Well, they offer a class for, I think I went
Well-
for 2 hours in town, you can schedule it anytime
Let's
and
ask
you
this,
can learn.
how long before we go live on the new website?
I'm hoping by this time next month, we're live on the new
So
website.
there's no point.
Well, he might need to do it just so that he can help
I
transfer
need
things
to
over,
pull
so,
a ton of information off
Yeah.
the old website.
Which I don't know how to do.
right, so I make a motion, since Mary sits down,
Well-
or stands there, I make a motion that we pay for Jim to do training with the current website company, so he can help finish getting that done, and also update it as necessary. I'll leave that part out, that he gets training on so he can transfer things over as quickly as possible.
I'm thinking just tell them.
Well, if he has to actually pull things down off of there, he's gonna need to be able to get in there to do that. Just like we can't,
Access
Dave and
on
I can't figure out, right, you can figure out how to pull off what I put up there.
Yeah, you had to call Wyatt to get involved with that, didn't you?
You know, he just, yes and no. He said, call him if I need me, he goes, or just go here and do this, and I went there and did that, I didn't have to come back, but, sort of.
Well, rather than arguing it out in a meeting, let's figure it out after the meeting sometime in the next week.
But we have to vote for you to get training, that's money. I make a motion that we allow Jim to take up to 4 hours of training on the website if he feels it's needed with LIA.
We know the cost.
No,
I wanna say it was,
$70 an hour?
yeah, it was not that much. not more than $500, LIAA.
4 hours training, LIAA, what else was the rest of it?
Not to exceed $500.
So up to 500.
She said it.
She said 4 hours.
I said 4 hours up to
$500.
$500, just in case they're $100 an
4
hour.
hours.
And that's for the
That one.
screen.
That's for our current, no, that's for our current website, so he can get the new one finished. and up
So
and
you
running.
want for Jim to get up to 4 hours or not to exceed $500 training with Laya if he
Feels
feels
necessary.
it's necessary.
I know it's tough.
I'll second.
And then with that said, I would help, if whoever wants something added on there, I would help update the website
Okay.
until the time that the committee is done,
With that part of it, sure.
and Jim
Thank
can
you.
help. But you just have to get me whatever information needs to go up there.
Well, I don't mind helping, but I'm not gonna be responsible for it. I mean, I'll show Jim, but it's not gonna matter.
It raises the question, who is going to, schedule rentals?
I don't have a problem doing that either. I'm taking the money for them.
You don't want,
She's putting them on the calendar. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me.
Okay. All right, I guess we'll work through it. Apologies if there are some flips along the road.
I mean,
well,
I guess it's, if at this time you're refusing to do these duties, or if you're not gonna do these duties, then we need to figure out who's gonna do them, at least in the time being, until the salary committee gets done.
if, you kindly asked me,
I kindly asked you, will you continue to do these until the salary committee is done, or till the end of the election time is done, however you want to word that? Whatever you're
I mean,
willing to do.
I will work with Jim, if he'll work with me in our time frame. With the website, the current one, he's gonna, I don't even have a clue how to do the new one, so I don't know who would even want to do the new one. But, I mean, and I do accounts payable and payroll, yes, they work very closely with my job.
Right.
And so those, I don't have an issue with. Cemetery flags, I don't think any of you could figure out how to do the
Well, I don't
cemetery
think
before
that-
Memorial Day.
I don't, so when in the salary committee thing, number one, most townships are utilizing a lot more of their trustees, and they're also using a lot more volunteers. You know, like, they have volunteers that come and help do election stuff. They have volunteers and their trustees organize that to do all their flags at their cemeteries.
I've tried and
They're-
I've made people, I say, okay, come out, and nobody ever shows up, so I quit asking.
Well, I mean, again, if we get this website done and we get a newsletter up there that is easy for people to access and get, like, I think that, and we encourage people to come, like, I think the sign is a great start. I still think, and I know you tried to change
The
it, I
flowers.
appreciate that. The flowers were too,
Next month
you
is
still
not gonna
couldn't
be
read
pretty.
it. You can't make it pretty because it distracts and you can't read it. So, yeah, so hopefully we can get more. I don't know how to get more. I think there's many people, Rosendale, I know, are very involved in veterans things. We have the Eagles right down the road. I think that, like, if we reach out to people, we should be able to get,
Yeah,
More
Eagles
people
pulled
involved?
out, Eagles pulled out several years ago.
well, I don't know, there's other
Because they
veterans.
used to
We have a veterans place right here, don't we? I mean, like,
What
or
are
the school, I mean, there's
what
people
are the
that,
Boy Scouts called now?
American
America.
Scouts.
America Scouts?
so, I mean, I think that there's ways to do that.
Scouts
And
for
if we can't get any volunteers this year, then maybe all of us on the board can go do it, just to get it done this year to help you. I'm willing
Go
to
out
do that.
tomorrow during my office hours.
Well, that's fine too. So what else you got? That you're not
Alright,
willing to
well,
do
real
all
quick,
solve it
can we
all?
vote on the motion?
Oh, yeah,
Or
Do you remember what it is?
for Jim.
him to have 4 hours or up to $500 for the
smiling.
training
Yep.
from Laya if he feels necessary.
Ralph,
Sure.
enthusiastic. Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
Worth, yes, Davis.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thanks for getting us back in order.
We can talk about these other things, we won't have to do it in a meeting, you know, we can,
Well, if there are more
we
than,
kind of,
three of us or more together.
Yeah.
I know, I'm
Which is
not
why I
talking
still
about
think we need to do the workshop meeting to do
Well,
our policies and procedures and all this type of stuff.
Well, let's just iron out is there anything you're not willing to do until the election committee, if you are asked kindly by the board?
election committee.
I mean, the
Salary.
salary committee,
Salary.
I'm sorry. Is there anything you're not willing to do until that committee is done and or the election is over?
FOIA,
Hasn't Dave been doing all the FOIAs?
nope,
No, I'd help.
he helps me,
I help
But-
technically.
but FOIAs take money, rentals take money, cemeteries take money. What do you wanna do?
I said no cash payments for taxes, is
Our
what I
policy
said,
says-
absolutely.
Our policy says that the following individuals can take cash
The
payments.
law says the treasurer makes that decision and appoints who she wants
Yep.
to take cash. That's
Just-
the law.
Just like the
Law
elections,
trumps policy.
just like for elections, that's the same law, is I can appoint who I want to take
Correct.
ballots or election materials. You're
Correct.
not allowed to, and neither is Dave.
Correct.
So we have this little conundrum, that as small as we are, what do we do when people come in on Tuesdays mostly to do all the money, and on Wednesdays or Thursdays when you're here? So what do we do? Tell people they have to come back on Wednesday and Thursday to pay
I'm
for
not
stuff?
allowing taxes to be collected.
Well, I'm not talking
This
about
shows
just taxes, I'm
There's
talking
a
about,
very good reason for me not to allow taxes to be collected.
I'm not talking about taxes, I'm talking about rental fees, FOIA fees, and cemetery fees. Do we tell people to come back?
We have a Dropbox now.
People won't put cash in the Dropbox sometimes. They want to actually hand it to somebody.
You're the one who decided not to do cash receipting anymore. You're the one who decided not to
You
take
told
those.
me I
I said,
couldn't
no, I
take-
did not. I said, no tax cash payments is what I said. And,
I didn't
and
hear
no
the tax.
cash box. I was not okaying a tax box because in the, resolution that you wrote up, it said to be available for tax, or that Dave wrote up, it said to be available to make change for taxes. Not happening.
What resolution?
Meetings back.
For me to have petty cash in the office so I can make change.
That's the reason.
For
Because we still have that,
Exactly. Because, yes.
we still have where people bring in cash and they want change for paying for those 3 items as well. So this is where we also have an issue of how do I give them change?
Well, if they know that they, I mean,
something.
it's just a matter of changing it with people then. If you want me to do those jobs, I'm happy to do those jobs. Is that what you're saying?
I think we need to work something.
That's what she's trying to do.
I know
It
that.
is.
I know that.
So,
And I just confirmed that. Thank you.
so, wait, tell me what you said. You said FOIA,
FOIAs.
Cemetery.
cemetery.
Rentals.
I'll do cemeteries and cash receiving for cemeteries. I don't have an issue with that. If you don't. As long as we agree.
I don't,
But FOIAs, I'm not gonna,
well, the thing is it's silly for somebody else to do FOIAs because I have no access to your files. So
You
how
don't.
do I answer any of them FOIAs?
this is how you answer those FOIAs. You get a FOIA request, you have 5 days to respond to that request of whether or not you will accept it, ask to extend it, or deny in part or in full. If you add the 10 days, then at the end of the 10 days, you say that your FOIA request has been approved or denied in part or full. And this is about how long it will take for you to receive that FOIA.
So you're suggesting that for our residents, we should drag it out?
No, no, that's what
I know that's what the law
it
says.
says, and I don't drag it out that often.
Well, you're suggesting we do the minimum.
She asked what she doesn't know how to do it, and I was explaining it to
I
her.
know, and I'm responding.
Okay, so, all right, that's fine.
So,
I'll do FOIAs and I'll
that's
do
something
rentals,
we
that's
can
fine.
work with, or if Dave wants to work with them, that's fine. But then you send that FOIA request, like I send the fire department ones, I respond to it, and then I forward it to Dayton. He gets all the materials ready, and he forwards it back to, he sends it back to me to forward on to the individual with the cost. And after they pay, then they get their stuff.
Fine. That's fine. I'll do it. I'll do rentals too. I'll do it all. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I am
Totally
doing it all,
kidding.
and yet I'm still supposed to be able to do all of my statutory duties. And
So, whatever, what else? So you're gonna do the website, I'm gonna help you, I'll do FOIA, you can help me. I'll do rentals, they'll just have to tell people to come see me, so I need to get access to the calendar that you currently have, because I know the website's not up to date, so I don't double book anything.
website should be today, they did that on Monday,
Okay.
last Monday, so check it.
Alright,
Well, I did put Jackie on it, I don't think,
she didn't pay for all, just the one,
just the one, so I know.
yeah, that's all she paid for, she still wants to do the other, she just doesn't have the money to do it yet.
Okay.
I'm looking at the rest of the things on the list. Okay, that's it. Moving on.
All right. Ground testing. I had a quote in here somewhere from a company, but, Jim linked me up with, the guy from Eagle. They are going to enroll us in their program, and that will cover the testing and a full report and everything if we are accepted. He made it sound like we're ideal for it. And then, once we get the report will come from a separate, environmental consultant. And we can either work with them or move to a different consultant at that time, depending on what we find out. He did say there was grants for cleanup. I know you were saying about the tax base paying it back, that's non-tax property, so
Yeah,
I don't.
it's a weird system,
Yeah.
and depending on how it's done, it could not be worth our while to go through the brownfield
Right.
cleanup part of it. The testing definitely, because
Yeah.
I've seen that this private company, $350 for, I'm assuming that's 8
Per
tests,
sample, yeah.
per sample,
Per sample.
a 30-acre property, at minimum, probably is gonna require 30 tests. It depends on what Aaron comes up with, but, and I can't remember the name of the woman without looking at my other notes, said, you might find that not all of it is brownfield, only part of it, and that's, so they need to take a bunch of samples, so,
Yeah.
That number would jump.
So, I think there's no reason to look at them anymore, and
We've got,
What's the name of that program? You know, for Eagle?
I have to go back to
Okay.
the
I was just gonna-
website, but
Put it on there.
it's Aaron, and his last name is, yes, I'm not misspelling it, ASSMAN. We're presuming that it's pronounced Asman.
Ask me.
But there is money available, and if there are grants outside of the brownfield program, that would be another reason that we need to clean up our budgeting and bookkeeping. So I'll throw that as another arrow in my quiver when we get to, Rod.
no recourse against the sellers for selling dirty land.
Oh, probably not.
Well,
Probably see foolishness to not test
Yeah,
it
it's
before we bought it. But, okay, with the ground testing thing, which is not related to that at all, have we checked into a perk test on the park?
yes,
Okay,
he doesn't need to do a perk test, because that property has already had a, septic tank on it.
oh, so we can have a septic.
We didn't address that in parks, that's right.
So,
Yeah, cause it used to be a private property.
So there's a
House used to be
septic
there.
tank on there currently?
it was removed.
either removed or filled in. We believe he's gonna do more research and try and locate it.
Health department, right?
Yes, the health department says it is so many feet from the walnut tree.
There's 6 walnut trees. They're dead, but there's 6 of them.
Doesn't have a direction from that walnut tree, just so many feet from the walnut tree.
Well, there should be old paper on it with
Yeah, it's
the
got all that
diagram.
family
They
history.
have it.
The health department said they have the location as so many feet from the walnut tree.
Which walnut tree?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's kind of in the middle.
It must be a really super old.
I don't remember at the time of anything coming out of that
So-
park.
so
I
there-
remember doing the cleanup for it when we first got it, and the house foundation and everything came out of there, but I don't remember anything about any
So
tank coming out of there.
they're gonna
Well, it's-
allow a septic field just based on the fact that there used to be one there?
Yep. He said, and the place is close enough to it.
Good for us.
Yeah,
Cool,
no permit that's necessary.
cool, cool.
And then I got the plans for the controversial bathrooms in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Which we're not on the lake, so they won't be controversial for us, but, and sent those back out saying, this is what I want you to bid on, so that everybody's bidding on the exact same structure. It's a 2-bathroom, toilet, sink. That way, everybody's bids will come in matching. I think I've only gotten one back so far. Alright, vacuum cleaner.
One we have keeps dying and the other one, just, I don't know why we have it. This is just a cost of, and down at the bottom is different prices, so a vacuum cleaner is gonna cost over $200.
Yeah, so what are the differences?
Well, one's an Oric, I'm not gonna get the Oric, but it was just what this happened to print out. And this is the, geez, it didn't print out everything, did it? This is the Bissell that they have at Quill / Staples.
Again, a newbie question, kind of along the line of the safe through the door. Is there a level of purchasing stuff that doesn't have to come in front of the board every time, or just anytime we spend money?
This
think
isn't,
it's basically information stuff more than, there's a cost of everything here, just so that we know what's going on.
just want you to be aware, it's just like anything for election, sometimes I'll bring it out to the board. You don't have to approve anything for elections because it's state law, I have to have it anyway.
We need a vacuum cleaner, buy a
So-
vacuum cleaner.
And it is kind of a bigger purchase.
Alright. Municipal clerk's membership and comments.
So are we purchasing a new vacuum cleaner?
I will purchase a new vacuum cleaner, yeah, that way you guys know that's what we're doing.
$250 or something?
That, I'd probably put this one if it's still available.
The
And
more
I
they
have
sell.
all their vacuums, I just bought a new vacuum at Menards, and I don't even want it. I can donate it, I don't know why I bought it.
What?
I don't even have any carpet.
What are you doing?
I will leave all of my sexist jokes.
Well, because it says it works on all floors, right? So I really thought it would clean the hardwood floors in the tile kitchen, and it just doesn't. And so I have this vacuum that I bought,
Sometimes it'll
and
scratch.
I don't want it. I don't think the dogs have done more damage over the years than that. So seriously, if
I mean,
you want it, I can donate
Pay
it, but
you something for it
I don't,
too.
yeah.
So that's up to you.
I tried to use it once. I could probably try to take it back, but I feel bad to do that.
This is just the membership or?
So it says the renewal date is January 31st, 2023. So now we have
That's
to,
for renewals only. Late fee applies for renewals only if postmarked after the due date of January 31st, 2023. I don't know why that.
and your registration ended though May 10th.
So membership into it is $75. A lot of I've asked for this before, but I thought I'd ask again. And
So you just
the
asking.
conference is $400, Wednesday through Friday.
But if the registration ended May 10th,
Yeah,
There's just a
I'm
late
like-
fee.
I'm
The late fee for May 10th is $75 late fee. Cause it
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
get brought up the last.
right before register now it says after
Oh,
May
yeah.
10th.
Are we a member already, or you're not a member?
No, we're not.
so we'd have a late fee on that too.
No, there's no late fee on that. Late fee applies for renewals only.
And when is this, June?
Yeah. June 17th through 21. And it's local.
We go out if we don't do passport licensing. Blind fees. Is there anything much more in here, I'm just curious, anything much more in here than what was just covered at MTA?
This is specific to clerk responsibilities.
Okay,
So I didn't even pay attention to after class from today. I don't know what the clerking classes are about, I don't.
Oh, one of them has FOIA.
Yeah. Freedom of Information Coordinator.
Looks like Wednesday is just conference stuff, no sessions.
And when?
Wednesday,
It's awards,
boards, elections.
silent auction,
Silent auction, ooh.
vendors open.
Mainly the only thing on there is the Bureau of Elections for 2 hours.
What's that?
The elections,
Yeah, 1 to 3:30,
yeah, that'd be,
Bureau of Elections.
How many days would you wanna go?
well, from my understanding, this,
It says you can go just Tuesday, or you go Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday through Friday.
pre-conference
Well,
all
sessions,
Tuesday is additional.
Yeah.
the pre-conference session for Monday is $300.
For Monday and Tuesday, it looks like.
Yeah.
Monday,
Covers all the clerking 101 stuff.
So, again, which days did you want to go?
it would be Wednesday through Friday,
Wednesday through Friday?
but and most of it's on elections.
Wednesday, there's no classes, right?
This is the elections are Wednesday. Thursday.
Oh, there's the Bureau of Elections.
Yeah.
I mean, it was mainly because I saw so much election stuff on there that with all this new election
Keep
stuff
the
that
election.
keeps changing, like a revolving, what's a revolving door? And I know several of our area clerks go to this too, so, but that's not like that. I've just heard things that they talk about when they go to this, so.
Would it be better to go as a non-member? Or what else does the membership supply?
Certification, coursework locations, and then,
We've belonged to this before.
I think so.
no. It mainly gives reduced rates, plus you can get certifications. Certified municipal clerk certifications, which actually take 3 years.
What, takes 3 years
Certification to the different levels,
for elections?
for, a municipal clerk certification.
Thank you.
Emergency management situations, FOIA, election day best practices. Pre-processing ballots before election day.
So,
Is the county clerk going?
yeah, county clerk is probably coming.
Is she the one doing the teaching for the rest of the township clerks on election?
She is required to teach Benton County Township, clerks training, and she also does election inspector trainings.
Yeah, I've worked with her before.
So, we can put that on the back burner for next year.
Well, do you have training that you feel you need before this next election? I mean, I guess that's where it boils down to. Or do you,
So if
have you not done that? Would it be better to go earlier before the next, I mean,
It just
I
depends
think if you
on,
need it, you should go.
on what all of this, on what they're actually gonna teach at these election trainings, that's the thing. It doesn't give a description of what these classes are. I mean, it still has it online, so
When is this taking place?
mid-June.
So there's no difference now, we're paying a late fee either way, so if you
For
figure,
registration, yeah.
yeah, so if you figure out what these classes are that you
I don't
really want
think-
to attend, then maybe we can do it at the next meeting.
Yeah. I think looking there, I mean, it's a great program, because they have more than just this one conference going on throughout the year, they have all sorts of things. So, something we can look out in these sessions, so I think maybe looking at it and talking it. I personally don't think it's gonna be worth $475.
So we're gonna pass?
But it's good to talk these things out. Thank you. Yes, they're back there and behind trees.
The bookshelf that came out of our office, the metal table cart, the tape striping machine, and the 6 cans of striping paint.
Well, why would we need them painted?
That was here before I was ever probably born.
Okay, so,
And didn't we just buy that cart? That's
No,
what-
no, that's the one over at the other building. That cart has been here. You are most welcome to load that cart up and move it and break your fingers, because the arms come off. If you're not careful, if you slip, the arms come off and bust you. But it's not needed anymore.
I got a truck,
Do you wanna go?
I got a truck.
For all of it,
How many, what's with the paint, what color is that?
yellow.
There was a shortage on that paint for a long time, you know that, right?
That's all right, turn it upside
sports
I
fields,
got a
they
truck.
have
I might have to
duty
take some
lunches
stuff.
for a while, yeah.
I might have to help you out at trash day here right now. Tonight?
So we need to approve this before we lunch day.
Well,
Okay, well, I'll
Okay,
give
I
you
make a
$5
motion.
cash for it.
we gotta talk about it first. Make a motion that we approve to get rid of whatever of
Okay,
that junk.
make it legal.
Okay, so with that said, I thought we were gonna get the big filing cabinet out of the office there, because I have access to free cabinets, but I'm gonna lose that here quickly. So to replace that with ones and put all the zoning stuff into that office, and with that said, does
You can
somebody
move,
want that?
you move that big filing cabinet, that's your
No,
responsibility.
you
Talk to
said
Jim.
that Jim was gonna do it with the
He
firefighters.
was, but you're gonna have to get with him to do it, because he's not getting with me anymore.
Okay.
I told him it's ready to go
So
in
the book,
there.
that was my only question about the bookcase, could it possibly be needed after those changes were made?
That bookcase is falling apart.
Oh, okay, Bill, you can have it.
Hey, if I don't need it, I get rid of it. That's that simple.
Does
If
it
you
come
guys
with,
got a problem, I'll be the solution.
does it come with a vacuum cleaner?
You can have my vacuum cleaner, I really don't
We
care.
just need the book.
The only thing I was, unless Bill really wants it, the table cart, when we did the spaghetti dinner over at the Eagles Club, they could probably use it.
Well, that's probably a great idea.
All they're
Keep it.
just,
No, you can keep it.
We'll,
To donate it to the Eagles?
We'll
yeah,
ask them if they want
see if
it.
they want it. It's all their tables just lean up against the wall.
But
If
it's-
they don't want it, then call me up, I'll get rid of it.
Okay.
So,
I don't care.
let's just vote on this as
Yes.
a yes,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
Yes.
no, because it's property.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead, Ralph.
Brower,
Yes?
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
yes.
Worth, yes, Davis?
Yes.
We're doing that.
Alright, gravel for Culvert Road.
Now you're on number 5.
Skip one.
5?
Yep,
Oh.
deputy clerk and treasurer hours.
Yes.
Okay, I just need approval to pay my deputy for 2.5 hours last month. I was not here. I haven't written a check, so.
Oh, well, if it's covering your sick time, then you don't have to get approval? No.
Again, question from the newbie. We have a budget for your deputy clerk, don't we?
Yeah, but we have to get hours approved for our clerks, our deputies.
We don't, from my understanding, unless I've always, if they're covering us as sick time, we don't have to get that time approved.
Sickness
If
or
we're
emergency.
having them come in for training or to utilize their services for other purposes, that time has to
We
be
have to-
pre-approved.
Okay,
So this doesn't really need to be approved.
But,
This is just letting us know.
but our coming hours, the hours that
Oh,
you're
you-
gonna need approval for training,
My deputy doesn't wanna get paid,
that
so I
has
have
to
to,
be.
by law, she has to be.
We went through this with a planning commission member, remember that?
Okay, well
When
then,
we were joint planning,
Yeah, what about it?
there was a guy that did not wanna get paid, but because he's considered an employee, he had to get paid.
Yeah.
And he kept fighting us and he'd never cash the checks, and it's like, well, there's nothing we can do, it's
Right.
the law, you're an employee, you have to get paid.
Yeah.
As a volunteer, you don't have to get paid,
okay, well then I gotta do some checking before,
so,
we approve any hours for my deputy.
or just put a number out there, because we're gonna,
Well, tax time is coming up, so I'm gonna say 32 hours, so 8 hours a week times 4, I think.
do you wanna do it
Start-
through, I was thinking I'd ask for
Through the-
hours through November 20th, my last day.
Yeah, that's fine, let's
And
do
that would
that.
be good, I mean, I'd like to get 50 hours approved for my deputy through November 20th.
50 hours a month or 50
No,
hours
50
total?
hours total
For the election.
through November 20th to include training and
Your training?
Election.
her training.
Whatever new stuff they throw
Got
at
it.
us.
Because we have to, most of it, because my inspectors are paid under election inspector pay, so it wouldn't matter, but I prefer to include training and work for mine, so I'd like 50 hours for mine through November 20th. Total.
50 total hours.
Is that number within the approved budget amount? The salary?
More than that. It's,
Yeah, cause we just started the new budget, so.
Did you make a motion?
no, cause I didn't know,
You wanna make a motion out for them together?
we can if you
Okay.
want, that doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know that I would use them, but I would like to at least have the capability to train for my whole office hours, at least through tax time. So that would be through September, cause I don't really need it through November, other than, so let's figure that out, so. 36 hours.
Do 50 and then you don't
Well, that's
have
gonna be
to.
more,
Okay.
because it's gonna be those 2 months of that. Well, let's just do 75, just so that way's done, that covers all of tax time, and then if I want a trainer to do, cause I never even got to that with my old deputy, to do bank reconciliations and that sort of thing, and other things, which I would like to do that, so let's just do that.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve deputy clerk hours, 50 hours through November 20th, and deputy treasurer hours, 75 hours through September.
I'll second.
We're gonna include the 2.5 hours for last month, and it doesn't need to be included,
It doesn't need to be.
just checking.
Go ahead, roll call.
Brown,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
Worth, yes, Davis.
Yes.
Motion carries. Alright, now Culver Road. The quote. 4 inches gravel and compacting. For the length from 31 up to Hewens. To, hopefully stop the erosion.
I have a question.
Mhm.
When we approved road commission to work on, the roads we decided we would have work on, we approved them. Is it necessary to approve them again? Because we approved that to work on Halbert Road and take care of the gravel and stuff.
Just at the one end.
We
Granted,
just approved right at Hewens, right, that's all we did.
Yeah, just the 100 feet.
and this is for the entire Halbert Road?
Yeah, to redo the gravel for the rest of it.
Entire.
Do you wanna see pictures of the road when it rains heavy? It gets rough this steep. And
I'll,
now that
I'll
road
drive
erodes
right
into the
through there,
creek.
I'll do 90 miles an hour in
Oh,
my
and when
van.
my husband had a fall sitting in the garage listening to people do that, bottom out and crash their cars and their thing.
You should see my corner lot. The drunks over there.
It's crazy.
Okay, so this is to do the entire thing.
Yeah.
They need to do this anyway if they're gonna pave.
Oh, I know they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're gonna use the gravel, cause is there different gravel for if they're gonna pave, isn't there?
I think so.
Yeah,
And this gravel is gonna be that kind of gravel.
yeah, this will be the base gravel.
Even though we're probably never really gonna be able to pave it.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, don't, yeah.
Well,
I want it paved.
Aren't you the one who told me? Somebody from told me that the engineering costs alone and then the cutbacks that they're gonna have to do on the road and the thing that is gonna be extremely, extremely expensive.
That's for where the street is.
Mhm.
I
So
mean,
it is
it'll
what
be
it is.
expensive, but it's not out of the question. It's just, and this will help a lot with the engineering, cause they're gonna fill in a lot of the low parts leading up to the culvert. So it's not as much to go over when they pave.
Let me drop some gravel out from over there.
Yeah, mine too. So our total cost would be 25,461.37.
Yes.
I move
Plus,
that,
Right.
now would be 27,625.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
25.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, overhead, yeah. I move that we approve the Benson County Road Commission offer to do Culvert Road for a total of 27,625.59.
it's an estimate only.
Yeah.
Right, that's all we ever get from them. Cause we approve this and then they bid it out.
And then we approve it again.
This is what we pay. If they go over it, then we bring it back.
But they're doing all the work in-house, so it'll actually probably come in less than this.
So you'll have to do a budget adjustment?
I'll second that.
Well, that's what I was just looking for, there's too many papers here looking for.
Not necessarily. We'll have to look at it.
Everybody start talking about it.
What we're sort of talking about. Do we have money left from all your other plans left? Have you got track of that? 'Cause
We've got, when do we get that money from taxes?
that's the end of winter taxes.
So we got the 80,000 from the tax there.
I'm looking for my report, 'cause I got too many papers on my desk. See what's there. Or not. There is money in Michigan Class too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That much I can tell you.
Local road millage, $103,397.
Cool. Say that again, 103.
$397.
Okay, but we had other plans in there as well, that's what I'm asking.
Right.
Can we
Right.
approve other roads?
Right.
What's those total costs that we're already committed that money for?
I
This
don't
was-
have it, but there is room. 'Cause
You're sure?
I don't know how much you have in Michigan class. Because it's not on my report.
Right, and then.
It's on the little paper I gave you. There's 16,000 in there for
Okay.
Michigan Class.
Brower,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
Ward, yes, Davis,
Yes. Motion carries.
Susan, Sonia,
Yeah.
Duckham.
Alright, Manor
Casterison.
There's,
I have trouble still with it. Ron put together a proposal, I was expecting it to be somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000. And it's under $4,000, which I think is great, $3,750. To come for a 3 or 4 hour session with us and basically go through a little bit more than just the basics, but, the discussion that we just had on a road, we should know before coming to a board meeting that, not only does the proposal fit, but, this is how much budget we have set aside, this much, we'll have this much left. But basically, what, we talked for, a good hour or so, and he pulled up our budget and looked through it and just zeroed right in on a number of things. The engagement letter is rather self-explanatory, but, our best practices, we're far from best practices when it comes to, and budgeting isn't just putting the financials together, it's the planning, it's strategic planning, it's looking at the township's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, the SWOT. What strategic initiatives do we have? We're talking about a lot of different things. We have 30 acres that we bought how many years ago? That, what's it for? Well, it's for our new fire hall. Well, Dayton says he never asked for one. It's just, what's our plan, what's our direction? We don't really have, the strategic initiatives. Capital improvement plan, do we know, what our physical, expensive building, what condition is it in? What should we be planning for future repairs, because buildings need stuff like that. There's just, a number of different things that, are missing from us. You just mentioned, possible grant money for brownfield repair. according to what we learned on Monday's session in Catherine's group, and in a couple other sessions, likely we wouldn't even qualify for a grant because we can't show them our plan. And master plan is not the same as a capital improvement plan, or a strategic plan, which should be the basis for our budget creation. Again, I don't wanna lose the state revenue sharing. Personally, I think we need more involvement in the community from the standpoint of just setting direction of where we want Inland Township to go. And I know the planning commission is working hard on, some things, and that certainly does give us some direction, but it's not the big picture. So I strongly suggest, and I know this is kind of a last minute thing to drop on the board, but I really think we should engage Rod and his company to set up a half-day session with us, which would be open to the public, because it has to be a special meeting, because all of us are involved and we're talking about things that affect the community and decisions that we might be making. So it would be an open special meeting, all special meetings are open to the public, but I think we could learn a lot, and just don't go by my word that we're dancing on the edge of a couple of things. I really think we don't just owe it to the citizens, it's our responsibility to run things as best we can. And right now, I think we're miles away from that. So I would, it's kind of a rush proposal, but, I would suggest that we engage him, time to be determined. Have you get in touch with him as supervisor and say, we'd like to engage you. You have everything spelled out. Find a time that fits the five of us. It would be best in the community. And obviously, he has, a schedule that he'd have to fit in.
Right.
He understands where we are. We're not alone as far as a township not doing things even close to correctly. Just great response from people in all the sessions that we're in. The guy knows what he's talking about.
Would this be something better before or after the audit, do you think?
I would think before the audit, because it's not going to interfere with the audit.
Right.
But I think it would probably help us with the audit itself. And there's also, specifically, he said there's no conflict of interest, because he's not going to be making the same recommendations that the auditor would from the standpoint of specifically the general ledger.
Okay.
He will make general suggestions of things we want to look at, but it would be, to your point, it would be very helpful to, whoever we wind up with the auditor, to have him in to give us some direction before we have an auditor in. So we're asking more informed questions about our audit and where we should be headed. It was also very clear that even if we do wind up with an auditor from Manor, just say Manor, then skip the last name, there's no conflict of interest because they don't cross paths.
Okay.
They have several departments.
I'm sorry?
I said they have several different departments.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the fact that our county uses them, specifically for auditing, and my guess is they've done more than one class with our county. I haven't checked into that yet. But I would move that we engage them for what he's put forward.
What fund would this come out of to pay for this?
I'm sorry?
What fund would this come out of to pay for this kind of training session?
Well,
General fund,
general fund,
101.
yeah, we got the money.
We'd have to do an amendment to budget.
No, I don't think so.
We also do a lot of training sessions for the board.
For each member, yeah.
It's board members. No.
Would it be him?
Huh?
Would it be Rod doing this?
Probably
Or-
not Rod, I would guess.
I asked him specifically and he said it depends on his schedule, so hopefully we can get him, but it depends.
I'll second.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
No,
When do we wanna set it up?
what,
I gotta
you have
get
to
with
make a
him,
motion.
get his schedule, and then get with everybody, see when we can call a special board meeting for it.
Guess you just go with that board meeting.
So then I'll call it.
We were having discussion. You have to have a second.
I was too high.
It's okay. It's okay.
Get his second. Yes.
But he has to call
I think we got
for
two
himself.
more.
And she has to. So Broward,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski. Yes. Worth, yes. Davis.
Yes.
It was one of these two guys.
Motion carries.
Thank you, I think that'll be very helpful.
I will reach out to him tomorrow. Alright, now we have the assessor. Our jerk assessor is Jack
Not
Harvey
least.
Price.
Sorry. I bet you wish you were first.
I would, well, since I'm kind of raising the issues, let me first say, which I said in my, board report, I don't have an issue with dollar amounts. One of the things that we learned at the MTA Education Conference is our assessor must be an employee, and we should have a contract with the assessor. And as I read your contract, Gunner Brown isn't even named. So we need to separate the contract, have an employee contract with you at that amount, and have the balance with MAS, and I don't have specific issues. If we can break it out that way, that makes us legal, and it's not just, and I have a bunch of notes. The State of Michigan Constitution, Section 2, and this is all stuff that I have, and you're welcome to it because I can crank out more copies. This is all information, and MTA sent me 2 IRS opinions and 2 publications from MTA. But the Constitution states the power of taxation, which is actually signing the roll. I lost my line. Shall never be surrendered, suspended, or contracted away, which means we can't hire MAS to do it with you as our employee. We have to, we can hire MAS to help you, and MAS can do a lot of stuff with the assessor, the primary overseer of those activities. That's all fine, and I don't have any issues with it. But the issue that was raised during the session is the IRS is, and has been as far back as over a decade, because the entire opinion for Sharon Township is right there. If they find that we haven't done it properly, they go back 7 years and say, this was actually assessor pay. They charge the additional income tax, both sides of FICA, and a penalty.
To the township.
And the township pays for it, you know, and while, again, you know, whatever you guys can do to reduce, you know, taxes of any kind, be they income or, you know, however you run your business, I'm fine with that. But my responsibility is to make sure that the township is in line with all the rules and regulations, and it's not just statutes, it's the Constitution and IRS findings. So, you know, and a couple other things. The assessor, have you ever taken a oath of office?
Something every time I'm in a contract.
That's great. I just want to make sure that
Yeah, I'm sworn in every time.
perfect, because you are a public officer, which is what also kicks you into having to be an employee. And, you know, Dave was kind enough to actually kick me, you know, contracts from previous years. And there are some years that, it would appear that we overpaid a little bit, and some years that we underpaid. But for the last 3 years, the contract reads, you should have been getting $6,000 a year. We paid $5,000 a year.
There's a reason for that, John. There was an error made early on. Let me back up. Let me give you a little history about the contract. We first entered into a contract with Inwood Township in 2015.
Okay?
At that time, not only did our corporate attorneys review the contract, Larry Merrill from MTA reviewed the contract, and the township attorney reviewed the contract. And they all agreed that by stating the assessor would be paid as salary per your employment policy, that he was the assessor, not Mr. Burrow at the time, but the assessor would be established as an employee, and that this contract met both the IRS requirements and the state requirements, which do in fact clearly say that an assessor can be an employee for a contract, very clearly in MCL section 211.10G. So we were told, not only by our corporate attorney, by the township's attorney, and by Larry Merrill, who was then the president, I believe, of MTA, that the wording in this contract suffice. They may have changed their opinion in that period of time. We had not sought legal counsel to have the contract reviewed since we pursued all that at the initial time.
When did you say you had that on? I'm sorry, I missed the year that you said that out there.
2015. Okay. 2015. So we were told at that time by all the sources that reviewed it that this was adequate to cover those issues. Early on in the contract, when Mr. Burrow took over as the assessor, I was the assessor of record first, and then Mr. Burrow took over. There was an error made in the accounting end at the township. Because it came as a wage, I, who oversee the contract division of our corporation, did not know Mr. Burrow was being overpaid. When we renewed the contract, we caught it and we said, oh, okay, he was overpaid, that money has to come back. $6,000 was still allocated and taken out of the mass portion of the contract. Mr. Burrow only got $5,000 for 3 years in a row because he had been overpaid for 3 years in a row. So that was offsetting, rather than him try to pay that money back and then the township continue to pay his salary, and everybody filed new income tax returns. It was agreed upon by the board. So that was offset and it was all corrected. So just so you know, because I know you weren't there then, so there's some history.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Those are the only options.
So from my understanding, and Jim has dug into this way more than me, but from my understanding, what they said, it's the wording of the contract where it says the $6,000 is paid from you to the assessor,
No,
right?
no, no.
Is that how it's worded?
No, that's
I
paid
have a
from
copy.
you.
You have it, it was that
If you
paper
read
you
that,
were looking
I
at.
don't see that on
the
here.
contract,
Right
it
there.
says,
Which is the wording, because they,
That one right there.
the very last
That's-
paragraph of the contract, the assessor will be paid a salary
Oh,
of
there we go.
$6,000 per year for signing the roll in accordance with the IRS requirements. The IRS requirements specifically state that the assessor will be an employee of the township. So again, that wording was deemed to be sufficient to cover the state requirement as well as the IRS requirement.
so the contract is that for this amount, the assessor will be paid a salary, but it's from the 24,000.
It's taken out of the 24,000. You pay the assessor directly. It's deducted.
Okay, I just
from-
think that that's probably the question, because when we ask them, like, maybe it's the wording
If
isn't
it's
clear,
explained
because they,
improperly, you're gonna get a
It's the
different
contract's
answer.
total, but-
I get what you're saying, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
And
and
I
we
think,
could redo that wording
Well,
if it makes it cleaner, we can do that. Like I said, we just have not had an attorney look at it because it was all the parties, because it was such a
Right.
new situation,
And
all
that's
the
where we,
parties had it reviewed.
right, and now,
It
They-
saying that if there's any question at all in the word, in the thing, the IRS is the one cracking down, it's not MTA, it's not them. And IRS needs to have clear distinction between what is done, paid, and responsibility of the assessor and what he can contract out.
Which is
Has to be
why you
clear.
file a W-2
Right.
for him and a
Right.
1099 for
Right, but the
us.
contract doesn't verify what we're paying directly as an employee, as he said, to Gunner.
It
Does that make
doesn't-
sense?
No, it doesn't. Where's his name on this?
Yeah, his name's
Where-
nowhere on
where's
here
Gunner
as our
Brown?
employee.
To the assessor, which
To the
I
assessor.
am,
Who's
when
this?
I'm hired and sworn in as the assessor by the township too, I have to file an actual form with the state
So
tax
you-
commission to actually be allowed to be the assessor.
I understand, but
specifically for the
But you understand,
municipality.
we want Gunner to be here, this is just a question,
So what would remedy
with
it
what
for
they
you?
said. Well, I think that this needs to have you, we need to have, I don't know, that's the thing,
Put your
I don't
name
know.
after assessor.
So it's.
Well, yeah,
so-
I
so
mean, there's
in-
something
so
that has to be a contract with you that clearly states that you are our employee.
In
And
the
we, aside,
contract,
I know your reading of this and that you had this
No,
approved at
I'm
the
just
time.
saying, this is also a contract. This is what the assessor and the township are required to follow with the state tax commission, who states who your assessor of record is. So that could be incorporated into the contract, that $6,000 is to be paid directly to Gunner Bro
Right.
as,
per form.
Well,
yeah.
if you could break it out as the 18,650 to be paid to MAS and 6,000 to Gunner Brow as assessor
Yeah.
on the payroll,
Yeah,
that makes me
Right,
happy.
because when I tried to explain this to MTA, she said to me, these were her words, stop right now, don't say another word, I will have to turn you in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
so I'm just saying, this, and so it caused us a little panic.
Properly,
Well,
no offense,
If I
but.
can put anyone at ease and the panic away from it, so you mentioned the Constitution, we also mentioned PA 660, which is part of, basically AMAR review, Auto Minimum Assessment Requirements. That was established in 2018 as part of what I submitted to you, specifically 10G paragraph A says employee or contract with an assessor. So it is valid, you can in fact do that. That was effective December 31st of 2021. As a reminder, we went through AMAR in 2022, so this was in fact reviewed me as an employee, and we passed.
At the state level.
at
So
the
what,
state
yeah,
level. So
and
what
I,
their
again, I'm
concerns
not,
are,
right,
no one seems to know, but the IRS made that designation in 2010. We have been contract assessors since 2015, with essentially the same contract since then. We've gone through 2 AMARs, not only in inland, but also with 3 other townships within Benzie County, and it's not an issue. Plus,
right, well, they said this in a class, honest, like, we don't,
And
right, and
no,
then
I
when I
believe
called
you,
to follow
it's
up, right, like, so,
yeah,
of course, we don't feel
But
we're
no
doing,
one-
we have to check.
no one has
Absolutely,
given a
yeah.
specific definition as to the issue.
Well, she
There
told
just
us,
seems to be an
so-
issue. No one
so-
knows exactly
okay,
what
so-
it is.
so basically, the thing is that we have to have you as an employee, as you know,
Yeah.
as we all agree. And there has to be a clear separate thing, and that the assessing firm can be there to help you, to assist you, to do other things, but it has to be
As
clear, and so
long
it
as
might
you're
be
the
just the
primary person overseeing.
overseeing there.
Which in the contract says that, yes, I am being paid to sign the role, so I both, prepare and supervise the preparation and sign the role.
And
my
that is
specific
also
duty.
on this document, which I apologize that you didn't have, we'll make
Right.
sure that
Right.
you do. We have turned it over to the township in years
Okay.
past, along with our liability insurance.
Okay.
So what?
Well, we're new, so we're just trying to make sure we're
Yeah,
understanding
no, we
this
just
risk, what
weren't
they
sure
say.
what the problem was, cause it's like we were all so cautious when we first started
There's no
this.
problem just trying to dot i's and cross t's for the township.
When I was,
Based on what we were, and I forgot that point. Catherine, who is an attorney.
oh, I know her very well.
Okay, I mean, she was very adamant, because I was standing right next to the trees when she said this, don't say anything more, I don't, it's like, okay, we're taking her seriously.
And you should, she's
So that-
very knowledgeable, she's incredible.
So if we can break those things out, we're golden. I do have some other just questions about the contract.
Absolutely, yeah, that's why we're here.
Thank you, and we're sorry that you're here so long, we're sorry we're all here so long.
Since Dave provided the previous 2 two contracts to this. I was just kind of looking at the wording of everything. And in item 2, it says track vacant land sales. And in 18 and 21, it said track or indicated sales of land value map. Is there any difference?
There is a difference in that the state tax commission no longer requires the maps.
The actual
So-
map.
So we just changed the wording to accommodate what the state tax commission requirements are.
Which I still do actually do the maps.
Yes.
Which probably explains number 9 as well. It's talking about, respond to phone inquiries for taxpayers, blah, blah, blah. It now says on a regular basis, and previously said either on a daily basis or in a timely manner.
Well, daily makes it sound like you're gonna answer every call every day, and we don't always get them all answered on the same day. Sometimes it takes us, 30 hours or 48 hours, but we do maintain an office, and again, Jim, I don't expect you to know this, because you're new to this. We maintain a home office in Honor, and this is truly our full-time, employment. There are 3 of us, we're all certified assessors,
Yeah.
and somebody's in that office every day, whether we get all the calls answered is, so this, again, just kind of a simple wording thing to not put ourselves in a position
Okay.
to make it our contract.
Perfect. Item 13, serve on land division committee and maintain records of all applicants. Receive compensation on a per application basis. Is it $50 per application, 500, 5,000?
Oh, what is your fee right now? I think 40?
Sort of.
45, I
I've
think
been doing it so
it-
long, I don't even pay attention anymore, but I think
Can they put that in the
it's
contract?
$60
for land design. Perfect.
I think it's 45, Joe.
60.
Is it 60? But we don't
Well,
get all of it.
put in 45.
Yes, you do.
You do.
I get $60
We pay him
for attending the
$60.
meeting, but there is an application fee above and beyond that, just
Right.
because.
That comes to us, that.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so add that in.
Add that in. And you used to have an item 14, office hours.
That was an
Using the last two.
offer, when we initially started, back in 2015, there was talk about having us coming to this location. And, we agreed to do that if it was something that the township wanted, but with the office right there in Honor, it has worked out great that people come to us. Gunner is here.
And I think it was
When
a
he-
space, just an office
Yeah,
space.
yeah, there was no place to
There's just
put
no
us,
extra
kind
body.
of, so it was just one of those things that if it worked out, we would come, we never have, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And then in the middle of this, if I'm reading it correctly, the way it's written, it's 24,650 less the 6,000. The balance will be paid to MAS in 12 equal monthly payments of 1554.16 beginning July 24th and ending May 25th, or May 2025.
Correct.
I think it should be June 2024, unless you don't want to be paid in June. But July to May is only 11 months.
Okay, thank you. We used to get a deposit up front, and we
Yeah.
quit doing that,
That's why I
so,
figured it was, but,
thank you, I appreciate that.
I would
again,
like to get paid for that month.
well, again, I'm not objecting to any of the things, it's just making sure that the township is covered, because Catherine put a scare into us.
Yeah, and I truly appreciate that. Like I said, I was a trustee on the board for 8 years. I am now the deputy clerk in Homestead Township. I appreciate where you guys are at. And,
Well, thank you.
and MTA is amazing. I
It's-
could say, I've worked with them for 45 years.
I've never found an association that is so focused on its members. I mean, they are incredible.
And they're lobbying, they're just an amazing organization.
Yeah, they are.
Like I said, I've worked with them for 45 years, and I can't say enough about them. But, what I would, if you're okay with this, if you would vote on the contract tonight with the changes per request, so there's not a gap, because otherwise we're done May 31st.
Send an amended contract.
And we can send you an amended contract with all the changes plugged in, if
Works
you're
for me.
all right with that.
Works for me.
I move to approve the assessing contract with the,
As amended.
with the
If I
corrections.
can
and-
clarify,
Is there a second?
Yeah, we gotta be able to collect tax
No.
money.
I'll second.
Do you have any other questions, anybody?
You just wanna proof me to fly to France to get it?
Got the contract, Kirsty.
How long are you going to France for?
Christie's going, yeah.
How long are you going?
Go ahead,
Oh,
Rob.
I'm not going.
Oh, you're not
Christie's
Yes.
going.
Oh,
Yeah.
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
yes.
Worth, yes, Davis.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh,
Reopen
nice.
public comment at 9:31.
William Swerve, 16-41 Brundage Road. I had a couple of questions, things I've heard tonight. That, the blight assessor, blight guy, or whoever he is, he's an appointed position and paid by the township, correct?
Yes.
And he refuses to do his job, and is he still employed with us?
He's never told me that he refuses, just that he doesn't have time. But
He doesn't have time,
yes.
so we should pay him. I don't have time to pay him.
Kinda go along with that.
And I know we're going through some change right now, trying to reassess our positions here in the board. But it's very concerning that the clerk would blatantly state in front of the public, she's refusing to do the job. And a job that's very important to me is all those veterans out there in the cemetery.
And he refused.
You
that job.
refuse to take care of my veterans,
No, I didn't.
okay? I would
said
like
I'll
to
do
have you
that.
turn in your resignation as soon as possible. That's my opinion, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm putting flags out tomorrow. I never said I wasn't doing it.
Anybody else? Oh, did we wanna vote on, approving the money for the cement slabs? Or did we wanna
Or the
Do
playground.
it all with the card.
do it with the works?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we didn't vote on benches for Peggy. I think we should do it all as one for the parks at once. Figure out how much money we have, put it all together, figure out what's priorities, where we're gonna spend the money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Gunnar.
9:33. Motion to adjourn?
Let's do it.